Scott, what day are we on? Day 6. Some of my fondest memories as a kid were of our family trips to Montana. In more recent years, the backcountry trails there have become a hot topic between the different trail user groups. Without much of a voice, access by bike to the lodgepole pines, alpine lakes, and the scenic ridgelands of my youth could be lost. I wanted to put together a trip to show that the simple act of participation can truly be an act of conservation. In researching trail access and the scale of the region, I realized the possibilities were infinite and that a bigger adventure was imminent. I landed on a remote section of the Continental Divide Trail heading south along the Idaho and Montana border. It took a small amount of persuasion for good friends Scott Rinckenberger and Justin Olsen to come on board.
This is my tire.
But it wasn't until we put tires to dirt that we realized the sheer scale of the journey ahead.
I kind of always want to take the endurance element and the adventure element and keep kind of notching it up, because that's where you get to always kind of run yourself against your own limits. The Fun Suffer Divide, we're right on it, so I like trips like that a lot. And they're usually, if you have a good attitude, you can make it fun while you're doing it, and then they're always fun in retrospect.
Dude, nailed it, bro.
Take 2.
Did we win?
Oh, we won. We always win.
I've never been bike packing before, and I got the call to come on this, do some riding, do some filming. So I pretty much jumped into it with both feet, you know? Felt like a good chance to take the opportunity while it was available and get up here and see what this 200 miles of trail is all about.
3, 2, 1, send it. Get it! Here's another idea. On top of the point, so that it's high. So high you can duck under it easily.
It works! On such a large ride, the last thing we wanted was to be weighed down by 11 days of food. Our solution? Staging lockable coolers, allowing us to resupply and discard our waste as we went along. Roughly every 2 days or so, the trail was accessible by an intersecting dirt road, campground, or in one instance, a backcountry cabin.
We're here at Meg Creek Cabin. We just put in a good solid 29 miles. Montana has a pretty rad system. Apparently there's a ton of cabins throughout the national forest here that you can do like overnight rentals, so this was the only one available in the time that we had.
Put my clothes in here to some clean water with some soap in it. Now the water's kind of like a waxy, dingy brownish beige. Be all set for a fresh start tomorrow. We've been experiencing the comforts and joys of a cabin with stove, pots, pans, but as of today we set out for another 9 nights out in the bush, and this will be the last indoors we will know for a long time here. It's a good day. The weather is conducive to travel. The trail is at times a bit obstacle filled.
Let's go. Get it, buddy.
So one of these trees is right on the edge of the river right down here. This means good times.
Coming into this, so much planning, so much time spent looking at maps, like figuring out where the closest water sources were for camp, and I felt like all the planning was going to be done and nothing was going to be a surprise. And everything was a surprise.
Bones in the cabin.
Today's new chamois day. Looking at topo maps, you get an idea, but it's not until you're out here and you're in these massive mountains with these wide open views that you really appreciate where we are. topped out. It's about 9,600 feet above sea level. Highest point so far. Pretty cool. You can see out down at Big Hole Valley, Salmon, Idaho over there.
I'm interested to see what's ahead. When we were making drops down there, it seems like it's a lot less forested and probably hotter and drier. But the trail looks like it's going to be a lot easier. So back here, it's been a lot more alpine, more rugged. So probably the scenery is going to be a bit more dramatic behind us, but the riding's about to get a lot more fun potentially.
Basically, our last water stop turned out to be just a little bit of a murky spring, and we gotta make it big enough that we can get actually some clean water out of it. Once it settles, feel how deep it is. It's pretty good. She goes.
Oh, she goes. She's almost Blue Man Group here.
And like that, voila.
Crystal blue, baby.
Clean water.
The pure, like, simple act of doing it is difficult enough and complex enough and sort of all-encompassing enough that you get into this mode where everything in your world gets really simple, you know, and it comes down to covering the miles you need to cover, you know, making sure there's enough water, enough food, enough shelter, and like all of the distractions that we're so used to living with all kind of fade away.
We've just spent 11 days up on the top of mountains where the only reality we're living is wake up in the morning, eat oatmeal, push our bikes all day long, then go to bed at the end of the day when the sun goes down. Yeah, it's pretty simple living. So I think for some people like us, there's pleasure in that type of thing.
It's been so insane to be out here riding bikes, pushing bikes, but riding bikes here on the Continental Divide. It's 6:30 in the morning. We've been up for maybe an hour, breaking down camp, eating breakfast, getting ready for the day. It's our last day. We're headed out to check out the eclipse, and then we've got about a 4,000 foot descent down to the valley floor. Yeah, I think the most rewarding thing was just coming into this really not knowing what I was getting myself into. In my mind it all worked out, but there was still doubts, and just seeing it all come together. Every day was a new adventure. 11:25. What do you got?
We're 4 minutes from 99% eclipse.
99.9.
99.9 at this location right here. And this is the highest point on our 11-day bike ride. And it's the last day, and we are in a very sweet spot to see a very rare occurrence, and we're psyched.
Over the course of those 11 days, we saw no other bikers, just a handful of thru hikers, all making their way north from Mexico to Canada. With each passing, we exchanged friendly smiles, news of bears, and trail conditions ahead. We drank from the streams, swam in the lakes, and enriched ourselves with the history of the area. We were rewarded with memories that will last a lifetime, and were inspired by the land around us. Our hope is to encourage others to explore and experience trails like this, because it's through loving use that these remote and incredible places will ultimately be preserved.